you are in the world, I thank you for joining me tonight. I'm nice and refreshed from my day of rejoicing, or night of rejoicing. In fact, I don't know whether that camera should move over a touch. Let me touch it. How about that? Does that make me more in the middle or not? Because I think I've probably gone out of position slightly. I appear to. So I'll give you a quick update. The update is, I'm not sure. I think I updated you. So I've got the van was delivered. Was it yesterday?
Yesterday morning.
Van was delivered yesterday morning. It's a little Toyota 1AC. I think it's called 1AC. It is superb, right? So everything is packed up, ready to go so I can chill out a little bit on that side. We've packed most of the stuff in for the seminar. And then we went and drove out and started looking at cars, right? There was a particular car that I was looking at, and then we started looking at something else as well. And I test drove. We test drove two cars, the ones that we was interested in, quite local to here. One of them was a Honda Civic HCH, I think it was called, or some weird thing. It wasn't a CVR, whatever, or it wasn't. There's one that's like a GP type thing, 4-wheel drive. This thing was 4-wheel drive, but it was smaller, and it was manual. But I did take it out. It had horrible bucket seats. It wasn't very comfortable. It was only about 1,500, I think. And it wasn't suitable anyway. And then we went out in a Volvo XC70 all-wheel drive. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically a Volvo estate with all-wheel drive, turbo diesel, automatic. Went out in that, took it for a test drive. Didn't even realise, but Janet went to me, slow down, right? And I won't say the speed I was doing on the country lane, but they're 60 mile an hour, right? This thing just flew. And yeah, it was nice. So we went back, had a little chat with them and a deal with them, and I picked that up next Wednesday. So without saying too much, there was quite a large contribution that come in from one of our members and one of our watchers. I won't say who it is, because I know that they don't particularly want me to say, but they give quite a large gift for me to be able to purchase that vehicle. What's the other benefits? It tows a caravan easily, and a large caravan. Am I still looking for a motorhome? Yeah, but it depends on. So I've still got a sticky wicket with this place. I don't know what's going on, but I feel all the pressure on for not having a car, and buses are every 2 hours here, and that's if they run the buses, right? They can cancel a bus and you wait 4 hours for a bus, right? There's no real taxis here. There is a taxi geezer. He spends more time in a pub than he does anywhere else, right? He don't really run a taxi business, in my opinion, right? And it's murder trying to book him up for anything. The local train station's 7 miles walk. Whilst you can get a bus there, it's almost impossible to get a bus. So when you are living, this is a little town. It's not even a village, and you've got no transport. It becomes pretty much a drama trying to get out. So I did go and have a look at the other vehicle, and the guy let me down. He sold it, etc. I think that was somewhat of a blessing in disguise. Whilst it was an absolutely stunning vehicle, I was in two minds whether I should even be looking at them. I do need something like that for towing a caravan, but if we get a caravan, it'll be going to one or two places and then plotting up for a little while. So I'm not too. I would prefer to be able to do that. The problem you got with a motorhome is for two of us to live comfortably in a motorhome, it's got to be a big motorhome. And once you've got a motorhome, having a car with it is a bit awkward because whereas if you're towing a caravan, there's lots of things that we've looked at. I definitely think there's more to come. They're going to be. They don't like what we're doing, and there's more that I want to be able to tell you about, which I'm not gonna. I'm not going to talk about yet, but I will do in once it's all set up. I'll be able to tell you exactly what's going on, and I know for a fact that everyone will love it. And it's more to do with the education side and the English Constitution Society rather than the political party, right? I think it's got much more value to society and to and to our larger community, which means the English, right? That's not me having a pop at the Welsh, the Scots, or the Irish. I'm just saying that we're about the English. No one talks up for the English, and we are, right? And we are unique in what we're doing. And there are some things that I'm going to tell you when we're ready to crack on with it, and you'll start to understand why it's much better to do it the way that we're doing it. Right. So that's the first thing. So last night, after having a van, getting out, it was like being on day release. We was out and whizzing about. Then we went and had a proper look at this vehicle and purchased it. So paid the deposit yesterday, picking it up Wednesday. It's having a full service, MOT while we're there, putting new tyres on the front. I've also asked for an extra, which is an oil change on the gearbox because it's an automatic, and the oil filter being changed. So when I get it, I ain't got to touch it. I've still got to insure it and tax it, but hopefully there should be no issues, touch wood, with that vehicle. Right, so it's a 2015 Volvo SC70. I mean, to be fair, I was sort of semi-looking at Volvos. Some people think they're a bit of a granddad's car, and I said, well, I am 62. What does it matter to me? I don't care what the car looks like. I want it to be reliable and to do what it says on the tin, and I want to be able to load it up. That other vehicle, the Ford Mondeo, whilst it was lovely, and I know it sounds strange to people, but bearing in mind that I think I had that car for 8 years, right, and looked after it as well, but using it for the seminars, loading it right up, treating it like a van, it was a bit even though it was still a decent car, it was a bit disrespectful to the car. And then when it finally went pop, can't do this anymore type of thing. I know it sounds funny, but it's almost like a loss. Like my car. So anyway, we got this other one, and I should have that by Wednesday. But the hire van's here, so it means everything. There's no panic for everything coming at the same time. My Starlink went down, other things went down. I've got the problems with the DWP. Then everything else started happening as well. The car going wrong, which meant seminar, which has been booked for about 6 months, and it's a really good venue and they're really good people, right? So after we get cancelled at these other places, you don't want to cause any problems for it because I just want to know. I want people to know that we're the most reliable people. If you call us on for a seminar, you're going to get a seminar. So yeah, all of that now means the van's all packed up with all the gear, or nearly all of it, and we're going to carry on from there. So any questions on that before I get stuck into the next part? How am I going to get rid of that?
What's that, the skin?
Huh? Yeah, nearly done it again with a white t-shirt, but at least I haven't got a white t-shirt on mine. A note for the assistant: try not to make hot chocolate with skin on it. Thank you. That's lovely, that hot chocolate. I've got to tell you something. Yeah, so there's lots of things going on in the background. There's other people I'm talking to. Some of the things that are coming up. So don't forget, there is a trial of someone coming up in September. There's another thing that we've got to do by October. So we are going to be quite busy in the background. And then there's another trial in December. But in the meantime, there's some other things that we are kicking off in a big way, right? So people will start to understand that the English Constitution is a thing, and you are not allowed to just walk away from it or tear it up and do what you like. That ain't happening, right? And people need to understand that certainly the king has made a very serious error, and he has been, in my view, advised, although I think he's complicit, advised by evil counsellors. But we have got a decent vehicle. So although it's my personal vehicle, obviously, it is going to be a mile muncher for doing seminars. And Fully Load just add that in it and just go there. Right. Evening, DD. Been catching up on your shows. I noticed after they put through the Jewish Relief Act 1858, I saw a Rothschild was the first Jew. Lionel. Yeah, that's correct. That is what happened. There's a lot to be said for what's going on in the background. I did actually see a video this morning. It's a really important video, funny enough. Now, I can't remember if someone sent it to me or I just saw it. But it is a great video. It was to do with China, funny enough. And China. Did you ever? I wonder if I could show that before I go on with the actual, because I am going to talk about some other things as well. Let's have a look and see if anyone's just checking you're there. Yeah, I am there. So just to let everyone know, the reason why I didn't do a show. I've got white bits all over me. I didn't do a show last night. Because by the time we come back, sorted out the car, sorted out all the other stuff and the van, done every bit, and had a little chat, we went in the pub, and for the first time in 2 months, it's about 2 months, I actually had a pint. And then I had another one. And relaxed. Huh? And relaxed. And relaxed, she said. And then I had another one. And then I had another one. And there's a picture of me in the pub. And then I had another one. Right? And I just chilled out and said, I just want to switch off, which is what I did. Then when we got in, cheese and crackers, and I had a proper night's sleep. Actually, it wasn't cheese and crackers, was it? It was a Janet special. Yeah. So so I felt a lot better by doing that. So I just want to make sure I am grateful for everyone who's made donations to help out. I've still got a tax and insure it, which I'm going to be sorting out now. Or in the next couple of days. I need to find the cheapest insurance for Volvos. I'm sure someone will point me in the right direction. DD and Janet, keep your motor running on the highway, looking for adventure. You're going my way. Born to be wild. Who wrote that? That's Shizzle. Yeah, so I was really, really pleased with that. Oh yeah, what's that? Good evening, DD in the chat. DD, don't forget your Helsby Statutes of England, Volume 10 on the bookshelf. I'll tell you what I'll do. You're absolutely right. And I will pass that to my assistants as I speak. See what I mean? You actually assist, because I probably would have forgotten that, because we're still going through stuff. I haven't put all the books in the car yet. And we've got to resort our shelving, really. I will do it. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but we'll do it. But I'll get them out the shelves and I'll start reading them again, and then they end up being everywhere, don't they? And it's like, you're going to put this one away? No, I'm reading that one. So before I get on to the next part of the subject, again, I just want to make sure everyone understands. So there's a new version of this coming out. But what I'm going to be doing is writing our version, and you can take it any way you want it. It's an early version of this, right? It's going to be probably 50 pages, just to make sure you understand. But before I do get into that, there's a book I've got upstairs, right? This is an old book, right? And it was by Adam Ferguson, as you can read on the thing. When Money Dies, The Nightmare of the Weimar Hyperinflation, right? And there it is. Just to make sure everyone's aware, there's another book. This one is a really difficult read, right? It's highly technical, but it also tells you what exactly happened during that phase of German life, right? And when I say it was bad, I mean, women was prostituting themselves just to get money for food or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It was an absolute nightmare for them. And that's what happens when a number of different people in the background are doing that. Let me. So that's the first thing to say to you. The second thing is, there's another book that I want to show you, and I still can't find it. I will find it and show it to you. But it's called The Demographic Cliff, right? Which is really important for people to understand. Now, that book there, I read, I think, in about 2006, right? The book was actually written, I think, in 1975, right? But it's a great, if you really want to understand what happens when the money goes bang, that's the book to read. It is technical, but it tells you what's going on. And if people think it can't happen again, and think again a bit lively. The second thing that you need to understand is there are things going on with China in the background in relation to, so I believe it's all connected. And I go back to Michael Yon and what he says about roots, resources, etc. Right, and that's what the wars are about. But the biggest issue here is the Straits of Hormuz and the fact that some of these places are using them as gold runs, right? So they're taking gold into various places, right? And these places can settle without going through the Bank of International Settlements in gold, right? The system was not set up to compete against the dollar. That's not what this was about. But it's also the other way that you can transport large amounts of gold, which is actually a better way of transporting it, is by train, right? And someone appears to be trying to stop this from happening, right? Because they want a monopoly of the settlement process, sovereign to sovereign, government to government, whatever. It's not for just normal people like us. And what I watched earlier was a refresher on that, where the person absolutely knew what he was talking about, and started to say that the problem that we've got is that the US wants to continue the monopoly. I could go into a lot more detail about the City of London, but I do believe the City of London's finished. and people like Rupert Lowe, people like even Nigel Farage. Well, Nigel Farage not so much. He'd be quite happy to bury the City of London and take his money. Try to shield them with a windproof umbrella. I don't know what you're talking about there, but I'll have a look. But let's get back onto the next part of this. Hopefully, I will find where this information is. I think it was on my one. Let me go back onto this a second. I'll put it on there again. Bring that up. There's a few things that I wanted to show you, and then we'll get into the law, and then I'm going to do a special little chat about something that I want people to understand. So this is the next part of what I was just briefly explaining, and it is to do with the show title that Mahometanism is forbidden in England, and it has been for a long time. But on your screen, this is from today. 2 Afghan migrants raped and assaulted a 14-year-old girl on a train from Kent to London, right? If you look underneath this, I think it's underneath this, it says 18 deportations to top dinghy arrival nations, right? And then it tells you Eritrea, dinghy arrivals over 7,000, enforced returns 2, Afghanistan 4,490, enforced returns 1, Sudanese no enforced returns, but they don't mean that they haven't been rapists. Iran 5, Ethiopia 8, and Syria 2. Right, so there's a total of 22,223 have arrived on dinghies, and there's a total of 18 have been sent back. Right. Now the next one I want to show you is this on the screen. The Home Office has put out a document, and it's on your screen as we speak, right? Child abuse is a serious crime in the UK. Child abuse is against the law. You must never physically hurt a child, shout or at or threaten a child, have sex or sexual contact with a child under 16, leave a child alone without an adult, deny a child food, clothes, or shelter or care, cut or harm a girl's genitals, known as female genital mutilation. Right? And then there's a little sign underneath it, which I'm going to be hopefully going to, if I can get to this. Let's put it up on the screen a bit further. If you break these rules, you could be arrested by the police and sent to prison. This could affect your asylum claim. So you could, and you could, right? It doesn't say would and would, it says could, right? Worried about a child, speak to staff at your accommodation or call NSPCC. And it gives the number. If a child is in danger now, call 999. Reporting concern will not affect your asylum claim. As if they're going to do that, right? Now, let me just make sure does everyone understand what I just showed you? This is this new Home Office document, and there is a particular point that I'm showing it, right? A number of people in Norfolk and around the Thetford area went out to these HMOs and was protesting. Police turned up and they've moved the migrants out and put them somewhere else, right? There's a number of things I'll say to that. Those people that are protesting are better off having from me a typed out document that says that they are petitioning, right? And they are petitioning the Crown, and they can give a copy of that to the police, right? Because you cannot be arrested for petitioning the Crown or the monarch. You cannot have commitments used against you, right? And we need to shift up a gear and make this constitutional. Stop playing silly buggers and make it about the Constitution. And we will certainly make it about the Constitution very soon once we've set up this other thing, because there's some things that we will be doing, and I'm sure that people will be very interested in what goes on. So, there are some things that I heard today which I'm not going to repeat, but I had a longish conversation with someone that may be needing my assistance, or certainly someone he knows may be needing my assistance. And I will help people, but remember, you can make my life easier and your life a lot easier. You may go to prison, right, for petitioning, but you will be able to, I'm telling you now, if you do as I tell you, you will be suing the police personally. And we will make sure that this gets argued as a constitutional position and an absolute right. You've got a number of things that you can do in the background. One of them is called Ward and Watch, right? It was never abolished. You have the right as citizens, if you see a crime committed, to citizens' arrest, right? 3, in my opinion, the police are complicit in the crimes that are they're actually assisting the offenders, right? And all of this we need to be putting out there so people understand that you are, as a group of petitioners, right, protecting your community. You have the full absolute right to assemble anywhere. You have the absolute right to petition a monarch. In fact, it's a not just a constitutional right, but it's a common law right. And you have but you must do it in a set way, right? So it needs to be written out, so they can't turn around. There's something called observance of due process. What I'm telling people is, if you operate in the way that I'm telling you, you may still get arrested, you may still go to prison, but I promise you faithfully, by the time it gets up to the upper echelons of where it's going to go, right, you will be highly compensated for what they've done to you. Because what they're actually doing is using the process of law as the punishment against people for carrying out a basic right of petitioning and something else which is called the hue and the cry. A hue and a cry is an ancient right of the English, right? It means that whether you're in a city, whether you're in a town, or whether you're in a village, you when there's something seriously wrong, you come out and warn people. So, as a group of English men and women in Norfolk doing what they're doing, they have done absolutely nothing wrong, but they must step away from all this free man of the land bullshit, right? Do it absolutely constitutionally, and let's go into High Court and have a proper argument about if what they're doing is wrong, right? Because they're not they're not expressing violence towards the migrants. They're just saying, we don't know who they are. There's been over 250,000 rapes in England. They're still raping people. You can see that's coming out in the news every day. And you have an absolute right. The more people to do it the right way. Do you remember? So I want everyone to listen to what I'm saying. Do you remember during COVID and they said they was going to jab the kids, right? And then they started going into the schools, and then the National Health Service was setting up a little thing with a nurse inside the schools and all that, and they was ignoring what the parents' wishes were. And we wrote out this document. And then on this document that was sent to the headmaster, the head of the governors, the school governors, and the form tutor. and it was taken in by the grandparents, right? It was the grandparents, not just one place. I believe there was at least 15 that was actually taken into the schools as free copies, signed, and said, "We're putting you on notice. This is what's going to happen, right? If you touch one of my children, my grandchildren, right? And don't forget, you've also got grandparents' rights in this country, right?" My point to you is, because of the way it was written, it was only a matter of days before the schools and the teachers referred to the unions, and the School of Governors put it back up the chain and said, "We don't," because it was all proper law, right? They looked at it and they said, "Could we be criminally liable as well as liable in tort?" And the answer come back, yes. One of the reasons during COVID, right, that they the only department in the government that they never forced a jab on, right? The only department, think about this, right? The only department that they never forced a jab on was the Justice Department. Why do you think that is? Because they would have had hundreds, if not thousands, of barristers, lawyers, and solicitors that work for the government saying you can't do that, well capable of presenting their cases in the High Court. So the only group of people they dropped out was the Justice Department, right? That tells you something. It tells you that the law does matter, right? The fact that we're not being represented now by barristers, solicitors, etc., and judges, we need to start pushing that forward, right? And the one way to do it is to do this in such a way. You need two things: the people coming out. So I've got a lot of respect for the people coming out in their local areas, right? But they've got to start doing things in a constitutional way. Forget the solicitors, because they're neither trained nor competent in the Constitution of England. They have got no interest. They are in effect Roman law specialists. They're not interested in the common law of England. They're not interested in England. They want England destroyed, right? And the barristers, the solicitors, the lot of them. Don't trust any of them, right? Importantly, for me to be able to help you, if you get arrested on any of these events, you must make no comment whatsoever. Do not. If I'm warning anyone now, right? I'm warning people now. If I hear one person turn around and say, "Well, I said this because I've got nothing to hide," blah, 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 right? I'm going to, excuse my French, I will tell you to fuck off, right? You're not going to make my life harder and the people, and expect people to help you in the English Constitution Society if you can't commit to the basic right to remain silent. You've just seen Anthony Fauci, right, in the US, the most well numerated person in the establishment over there for many years, 450 grand a year, plus his pension, plus all this, with access to the best lawyers in America. And what did he do when he was asked questions about COVID? He pleaded the fifth. It doesn't mean you're guilty. It means that you don't have to incriminate yourself, right? Now, the law is set up in such a way that virtually anything in England, if you open your mouth, you're committing an offence. It shouldn't be like that, but it is like that, right? And that's why, if you ever go and arrest, ask, and there may be people who know about the police in the audience, right? If you go and arrest a police officer tomorrow, a police officer arrests a police officer. Do you know the police officer under arrest won't turn around and sit there when he's under caution and they put the tape on and say, "I've got nothing to hide," blah, 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 blah. No, 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 no. I'll tell you what that police officer will say. No comment, right? And yet people out there have still got this thing in their head, right? I've done nothing to hide. Listen, this system is corrupt to the core. Shut your mouth. Don't say anything, right? I'm telling you now. I don't care if they give you a 2-week laydown, right? If it's one of our members, we will make a bail application, right, to the High Court. Well, first so you make it to the magistrate and then to the Crown Court, and then you would make a bail application if you need to the High Court and the habeas corpus to say there's no reason to keep this person in custody, right? That it serves no purpose whatsoever. And what we've got to do is now start stacking it against the judiciary because they're as corrupt as anyone else. Does everyone understand what I just said? I'm going to stop sharing that on the screen, right? And I'm going to go back to something else in a couple of seconds. Don't forget to talk to me in the chat, people. I am normally distracted by the chat, but what I'm going to do is pick up anything that you're saying, right? So I want to help people. We are setting up something else in a slightly different way. It'll be very positive in the way that it operates, right? It will be funded. It needs to be funded, whatever happens. But it's also going to be run in a different way, and it's not going to be political. It's going to be educational, and the way it's going to be operating is we can actually help people. White Dragon 81. Should I get Chris from LSB Productions to contact DD for allow for our protests, as we will not stop in Thetford? Yeah, no, you need to. So I can tell. So I want everyone to understand this. I watched some of them videos. Some of it made me cringe. Some of it was excellent, right? What I'm saying is there is a set process. Do you remember when I got nicked outside Buckingham Palace? And then I had 30-year-old Bill arrest me and cart me off and all that. And I said, you can't do that. I'm petitioning the Crown, right? And if everyone there, right, is under the auspice of that petition, for them to arrest anyone there, they are the ones committing the offence, right? And you can personally sue them for doing it. So you need to know who they are and what they are, etc. And you need to make sure you do not do this by suing the chief constable, right? Those police constables, all of them, don't matter what their rank is, right? Whether they're a standard chief constable, whether they're a sergeant, whether they're an inspector, chief superintendent, assistant chief constable, chief constable, right? They are all constables. There is only one oath, right? And the point I'm trying to make to you is, right, we will make sure you don't stand there saying, "Oh, you're on your oath" and all that. Listen, they wouldn't be police officers unless they took the oath, because that's the only time you get a warrant card, right? The difference between this mob that we've got now and the people that we used to have before, well before 2008, proper coppers, right? They had to do 2 years on probation, right? And they took a constitutional exam. They wasn't allowed to have access to the public without supervision. That's why they always went about in pairs, right? And one copper would keep an eye on the other copper. And if he thought we weren't the right character for it, he'd go back and say, I don't think he should be a police officer. And they used to get rid of people, right? They used to get rid of people for it, right? You know, if the copper all he wants to do is cop older people and be nasty, then the other copper's going to say, we don't want that, right? We're supposed to be nice to people. Does everyone understand what I'm saying? So yes is the answer. I will write that up for them, but I don't want them mix and matching free man of the land bullshit or I don't contract with you, all of that nonsense. Just shut the fuck up and do it. There's a set way of doing this, right? Bearing in mind, when I went to court in the number one magistrates, and again, if someone gets nicked, you say no comment. Depending on what it is if it's a summary case, right? So if it's just a summons, they'll take your name and address. You have to give them your name and address, right? I'm not saying I agree with that, but unless You absolutely believe you haven't committed any offence whatsoever, and then you can say to them, "I don't want to give you my address." And if they say we're going to arrest you, say what for? And they turn around and say for not giving you the name and address, right? There's the case that I can give you. Right? It's recent, but it's funny enough, come from COVID, right? Where the High Court said no, if they ain't committing an offence and you're asking for a name and address, they haven't committed a crime. They're not suspected of a crime if they didn't commit the crime, right? And you know that they haven't committed the crime. So if they're standing in front of you, giving you a petition, where's the offence? It's a constitutional provision that you've got, and you're not giving it the way you should be doing it. Everyone understand that? Come on, I spent a long. So I spent. What's that? Let me have a look. It is really difficult to confident some of these. Let me show you something else. Oh, there it is. I'm not sure if that's the whole one or not. It ain't the whole one, is it? I'll have to go and find it. Let me go and find something. And I'll come back. Any questions, put the questions in. What I like about these people that are doing this, if they got the bottle to do it, and they got the bottle to front the police, and they're doing it for the right, they're protecting their community. That's fantastic. All part of Wall and Watch. It is all part of what is part of the ancient laws and customs. I'm trying to find something here. There it is there. Let's see if I can click on this. So someone has put this out earlier on, right? I'm now going to bring it up on the screen because I was clever enough to work it out. Believe it or not. There it is. Right. The Constitution is the solution. And it goes on to say, right, so this is what the title of the show was about. The Constitution is the solution, right? English Constitution Society. English Constitution Society. I'm not sure if that is the right website. Andrew Horn, Speculum Justicinium, whatever that is. The Mirror of Justice is 1290. Comprised of what was even in his time ancient Anglo-Saxon English law. The forebears of our ancient English civilization forbade Islam, Mahometanism. Others, right, Southsayers, who numbered nights and days and hours, whereby they ordered their business. There were many other kinds, all which manner of diviners are to be, by the word of God himself, an authority of the church to be excommunicated and forbidden, as much as Mahometanism and things against the true faith. And this St. Augustine proves by many reasons, and hence it is that they who travel to witches or diviners to know things to come, give that to the creatures which belongeth to God alone. Wherefore these wicked doers are to be removed from the society of God's holy people, so that no good Christian be taken with their art, nor partner in their sins. Andrew Horn, The Mirror of Justice, is 1290. And then there's another part that says, or thus Molin, who is there defamed by good people that such a day he denied his baptism and caused himself to be circumcised and became a Jew or a Saracen, or offered or sacrificed to Mohammed in contempt of God, to the damnation of his soul, and this offence he did feloniously. Right? So it was actually against the law in England to be either a Jew or a Mohammedan. Everyone understand that? I don't care what crap they come out with. No one's asked us, the people, right? They have done things with our constitution that is absolutely not allowed. There is no one out there talking about the constitution from the eyes of the subject, right? Apart from us, right? The people. And it is we, the people, that are more important in any nation. And we need to protect our nation. Let me just make sure everything's on there. And by the way, I've got that from English History, Constitutional Checks. That was. So, and I'm not sure if he's got the right website on there. But let me just have a quick look and see if I can push that out any further. I might even bring another one up. Let me have a look. I'll put that out there. Don't forget, I am not on Twitter. So you need to resend, if you can, my pin post. Go on there, send it out, repost it, put a comment on there, positive comment. Give it a like. Hit the bookmark. Because that all makes it go up. But I am taking a break from Twitter until Monday. So again, there's another one I wanted to show you briefly, and then I'll go back to I don't know what this says, but I trust this person, so I'll bring it up. Our forebears forbade Islam in England. When did he send me this? May the 8th, 2026. Our forebears forbade Islam in England. A well-worn phrase comes to mind: restore England, right? Others South say, so that's basically what I just read out. I think he's actually put it in a position. So the Mirror of Justice is page 32, right? And there it is there. And there you go. I said, you, sir, are a scholar of research. There you go. And he says, unfounded, but thank you. It's because people are digging into it, right? But you've got to stop putting out fires and go for the Constitution, the Constitution, the Constitution. That's the only way you're going to stop things, right? And one way of stopping all this is we've got to turn around and say we want Middlesex back, right? Middlesex was Middle Saxon, right? And we want Middlesex back. We want London back as a London, and we do not want anything to do with their regionalisation, what they're now calling devolution, right? Because the object is to destroy England. Let me have a quick look. Any other questions on there? Let me have a look. Rumble. No other questions on there? I don't know who that is. Let's have a look. Any other questions? Kew Gardens, 1, 2, 3 skin. No, that's 1, 2 skin, 12 skin. Chuck money. Council Watch are sending demands to local councils to stop regionalisation. If they do it in the right way, The problem with, I think it's Council Watch, is they haven't listened to me. In fact, I had a conversation with a lady who wanted to talk to me about it, and she suggested I had an ego because I wouldn't do things the way they was doing it. I said, listen, I've been doing this a long time, and I'm not wasting my time with any of that. Right? You're either going to do it about the Constitution or you're not. If you're not, you ain't a bit of me, and you ain't never going to get anywhere. You're wasting everyone's time. Right? That's the bit that frustrates me. It's nothing to do with being an ego. Do you think I've got an ego? No. So, you know, Janet says I haven't got. She's biased, but she says you haven't got an ego. You would do whatever best for the country. Full stop. And I want to solve the problem, right? And people that don't know enough about the law, I'm not sure. I may be completely wrong. There was a group of people, and the woman that was doing it. Not that I've got an issue as an advisor, but she was actually Polish. And I was like, so what do you know about the Constitution? Nothing. But I'm like, all right, okay. So all I'm saying is people, and again, these people will not go for the Constitution because they also know that anyone who is Polish or Polish descent, because this isn't about white, black or brown, right? It's about culture. That you cannot be in any position of authority in England. The Bill of Rights 16, is the mirrors of justice legible in courts? Some of it is if you can trace back to where it actually come from. So anything you present in court needs to be a document that you can actually rely on. That's why it's always better to, if you can drill down into it and find out where the phrase come from, where it was said, etc. But it doesn't necessarily have to be a court case. It can be the king has said X, right? As we soon to find out with King Charles. Now, do DW still do IPRs, please? I think it stands for Internal Process Review. Yeah. The most important thing with the DWP, I will be, funny enough, one of the things I'll be talking about at the seminar is the DWP and some of the things that they've done, because some of the things that they're doing are unlawful. And they are, and it's not been challenged, and it should be challenged. And Graham, question: why are you so devilishly handsome? Janet, why am I so devilishly handsome?
You've always been very handsome. You get it from your dad.
Janet said, I've always been very handsome. I got it from my dad. But when I smile and take a photo, I look like a mong. Let me show you some mongy photos from last night. Is there any mongy photos? Did you send me some mongy photos?
I did.
You did send them to me, didn't you? Yeah. I ain't on there. Unless I have to sync it. Unless I have to sync it or do something with it. But my mongy photos are not on this one. Unless you... Oh, yeah, there they are. Do you want to see some mongy photos from the pub last night? I shouldn't really... Is it got... no, your name had come up on that. I can't send him out. I do look like a proper mong. I was fucking lagging last night. Let me have a look at this one. This is me. Hang on. I'll put this one out there. just so you know, I miss the show for a reason. Let me have a look and see if I can put it out there. It don't matter if it comes up on my one. Post. Let me put it up. Post it. Yeah, I'll put that up there. There's nothing you can read from that, is there? No, shouldn't be. I'm not sure if I could even show that. Let's see if I can pin that up there. There you go. There's me as a mong. Right. I've just shown you. I'm sure my teeth are started to go inwards. They look like they're going inwards. I don't know. Anyway, I've just shown you me as a mong. Any questions on the Guinness? No, funny enough, cider. What's that cider I drink?
Inches.
Inches, it's called. It's a Devon cider. It's lovely, though. You can just drink it all day long, or you can't, because if you have a few pints of it, you fall over. Let me have a look. DD, we hope to add South Middlesex to the new West Surrey Unitary Authority name, but getting pushback from the snobs in Surrey. Snobs in Surrey? I know some people who live in Surrey. I hate snobs. Julie Oatway, thank you so much. You heard Graham. You heard Graham. He said, yeah, I think he meant, yeah, that they still do IPRs. So there's a possibility later today. I'm going to take your advice and trust my instinct. Yeah, but you have to ask for an internal review. There's a process. There's an internal review, and then there's an appeal. And a full appeal goes like it's proper. But depending on what it is, so if you've got a situation, there's certain situations. There's a framework agreement, right, which is the equivalent to a constitution, and there's a 6-point framework, and they're not allowed to go out of that framework. If they do, they're automatically in the wrong, and you can personally sue the person who did it. Had a phone call from the DW day today, just told him to piss off, con someone else. Oh, right. Tracy Tourism, do you know if anyone is going from Gloucester or Forest of Dean? I can only get there if I have a lift. It's not doable without. Where's the Forest of Dean, Gloucester? Well, that's a fair old track, I think. But sharing is caring, so share. Also hit the like and subscribe button. Any other questions before I nut off out? Later, have a good night. English Constitution 8351, do they? Thank you. I had an official today tell me they don't do IPRs anymore. So did she lie to me, please? She said rules have changed. Have they? When did I last hear from them? A few weeks back.
Yeah, they're still not contacting
a few
you.
weeks ago, and they did an IP, unless it changed in the last 3 weeks, and they did an internal review, but it didn't change. And I said, well, I've also said that I want an appeal. So what are you doing with my appeal? DD, so you went to the pub, for a couple of inches. Yeah. And it's about, you could actually measure the pub distance in inches from where I live. So Conway Jones, Tracy, thanks, love, William, man. Art, administrative law is what councils are signed up to. Yeah, administrative. You're so Jason is right in what he's saying, or Ace Jason is right in what he's saying. If you're going to front off, administrative law with administrative law, you're going to lose. And talking about all this council stuff, you need to be literally going back into our constitution. Wayland, who's Wayland? Is that Wayland Jennings? Did the Dukes of Hazzard? I'm not sure what that is. Bam 7 after now, Dickens. Let's have a look. Clipboard clowns love changing the rules. Yeah, they do. And you need to go back to your rights. One of the things they can't do is affect your life and do something that drastically affects your life for a number of there's a whole set of legal reasons if you use everything the way it should. The DWP can't make policy and implement it as its law, as if it's law, right? And there's certain things they can't do. Let me have a look. Check out the English Constitution Facebook page. Raybot 29. My posts aren't posting. Well, I can see that one. So there's a lot coming up anyway, but hopefully, don't forget sharing is caring. The only people who are getting this message out are you. We're a regiment, and the bigger this regiment comes, the more likely people are going to start understanding that we do have a constitution. They're not allowed to go outside of that, and if they do, it's unlawful, right? But the only people pitching it is for we the people is us. No one else is doing it. People are not being trained in it, which is normally a really bad sign. That you have got not only a tyrannous governance, but you've got a tyrannous state-controlled education system. I'll see you right night, Graham. Yeah, good night. God bless to everyone. I will see you all tomorrow evening before, and then the next day we're setting off for Western-super-Mare. I've still got to write some stuff out though, and I ain't write it out yet, but I will be doing it. That's it. Good night. God bless. And don't forget what I believe in. The Constitution is the solution. And don't forget, you've got on your screen as we speak, English Constitutional Common Law All-Day Seminar. Explore your inalienable and constitutional rights, what they are, why they matter, and how the state is working to take them away. And it is at Qstoke Village Hall, Crooks Lane, Qstoke, Western-super-Mare, Bravo Sierra 229 X-ray Juliet. Or you can hit the little, you can scan that image, it should take you to that. You can book a ticket, you can pay on the door, but there you go. What we're hoping is many people turn up who want to listen to the actual facts of the Constitution. That's it.